It's real. I am so happy to be with you today. As Brian mentioned, I'm a writer. I live here in New York, and while I am not a part of the restaurant industry in any way, I've attended the Welcome Conference several times because I think the restaurant world is just absolutely magical. I have a list a mile long on my phone of places that I'm excited to try. I have been known to recommend a couple things on the menu to the diners next to me, and also next to them, and also next to them. If we are at Chesiamo, and I happen to look over and see that you didn't order the onion torta, I'm going to very politely intervene. If you're at Fini Pizza, and somehow you don't get the white slice with lemon, I'm just gonna get one for you. If you don't order the Frenna at Chiquette, an alarm goes off in my apartment, and I am going to run down 9th Avenue to change your mind. I get texts from friends all over the country. I'm in Santa Barbara, where should I eat? I'm in Chicago, who makes the best pizza? I'm in New York for one night, where should I have dinner? The answers, respectively, are La Superica, Lou Malnati's, and Laser Wolf. I love the worlds that you all have created. I'm so grateful for the work that you do. I benefit so deeply from your creativity, your talent, your brilliance, your hospitality. And so when Brian asked me to speak with you, I couldn't say yes fast enough, and I asked permission to write a love letter. And that's what I want to read to you today. This is a love letter to restaurants and to all of you who run them, who work at them, manage them, labor over them, a love letter to the extraordinary work that you do on behalf of all of us whose lives have been changed and enriched and made more beautiful and so much more delicious because of the work that you all do. First, thank you for feeding us on the most fundamental level. That's where we'll start. Feeding someone is perhaps the first and most elemental act of love. Thank you for allowing us to enter hungry and leave satisfied. Thank you for giving us a place to celebrate, to mark special milestones and memories. My husband and I planned to go to Italy for our 20th wedding anniversary a couple years ago. And then a global pandemic put those plans on hold. And so instead, on the day of our 20th wedding anniversary, we walked down to Via Carota and had a perfect Italian meal. We told stories and laughed together and held hands across the table. And we did eventually get to Italy, and it was an amazing trip, but it's so special now to have that memory of that night in that beautiful space, a reminder every time we walk by. Your tables and your flavors and your faces become parts of our most treasured memories. Also, thank you for giving us a place to cry and grieve and fight. Thanks for doing that thing where you circle near the table and then notice that one or both of us are crying and then pretend that you're urgently needed back in the kitchen. Thank you for asking another round in an extremely neutral voice when it's very clear that we are married and we are in a fight. Thank you for being a place that tastes like home, but where we don't have to do the dishes. Thanks for holding our memories through food and flavors. I live in New York, but I'm from Chicago, and there's a very specific set of food memories that I carry with me. And when I took my first bite of a burger at the Au Cheval here in New York, it was like a magic carpet. It was like a magnet took my heart from this city back to my home city. And that's what your flavors and your spaces and your restaurants can do for us. You transport us. Thank you for taking us to other worlds, other continents, other traditions. Thanks for taking us into your childhood homes, letting us sit around your tables. Thank you for the seemingly little things you do that aren't little at all when you're on the receiving end. There's a restaurant on our corner that I think is basically perfect. It's called Cook Shop. and I always start with the focaccia with whipped lemon ricotta, and then I pretend that I'm gonna get like a grain bowl or chicken, but 100% of the time I get the pizza. So it's like a carb followed by a carb meal. And I really love that our server plays along every time. They're like, yeah, you have never, ever ordered a grain bowl here, but yeah, let's go ahead and look at the menu. And then when my pizza comes, I get a little extra ricotta to dip my crusts. And then recently I was there and I asked for my last couple pieces of pizza to be wrapped up, because the only thing I like better than hot pizza for dinner is cold pizza for breakfast. And so the next morning, as I unwrapped it, I realized that our server packed up a little extra container of whipped ricotta for my breakfast crusts. And I almost started crying in my kitchen. Are you kidding me? That's what you do. That's the magic of a great restaurant, a great server. You see us. You notice our quirks and our funny little habits. And you know what it feels like? It feels a lot like being loved. Every summer, all my life, we've been going to this little lakeshore town, and there's a restaurant there that I love. And after a particularly hard school year a couple years ago, when we got to the lake and went for our first visit to this little restaurant, my order arrived with a cinnamon bun that I didn't order, with a little flag in it made with toothpicks and napkins. And it said, "Welcome home, Shauna." That's what you do. You welcome us home. And speaking of home, thank you for being away from your homes and your families so that we can make special memories with ours, especially on holidays. When we eat in your restaurants for the Feast of the Seven Fishes on Christmas Eve, or when we go out for Mother's Day brunch, it's not lost on me that if we're around your restaurant tables, you're not at home around your family table. I see the weight of that, and I'm so grateful. Thank you for giving us a place to celebrate meaningful traditions, even though it means you're away from people you love while we're sitting around your tables. In my little corner of the world, I'm generally the one who feeds people, the one who sets the table, refills the glasses, thinks through the details of all the things that make someone feel comfortable. And when I come into one of your restaurants, I'm so grateful for the way that you do that. I go to restaurants for food, of course, but I also go to be cared for in the 1,000 little ways that you all care for us when we're in your spaces. Some people get pedicures, some people get facials or massages, but when I want to be tended to, when I need to be put back together a little bit, when I want to be cared for, I go to the Mermaid Inn for some oysters and a martini. Or I get a Manhattan at the bar at the Highline Hotel, which is also an excellent place for dog watching. When you ask if we're warm enough, when you ask if we've saved room for dessert, when you recommend your favorite thing on the menu, or you ask if I'm all right, or you find me a spot at the bar, when you adjust the lighting, or ask if I like my drink, or answer all my questions about exactly what kind of butter you're serving, you tend to me in a way that almost no one else does. Thank you. My husband and I have 2 sons. They're almost 12 and almost 17. My older son is a diner and lunch counter guy. And so most of the best conversations we've had in the last couple years have been over eggs or burgers or milkshakes. He's now at the age where he finishes his whole plate before I'm even half done with mine. Are you gonna eat your toast? Can I have your fries? Are you gonna finish your burger? And when we're at Le Bonbonniere or S&P Lunch or Three Decker Diner, for a little while at least, I'm not just a mom bugging him about his room or college or whatever. We're people. We're people who talk about art and music and Bob Dylan and Alex Turner and street photography. We become something else in your spaces, and that's part of your magic too. My younger son and I both feel pretty strongly that while we are definitely Scandinavian, especially in our faces, in our hearts, we're Italian. And so we're always on the hunt for the best pasta. He's always looking for the best fettuccine, and I always want to try the vodka sauce. We love to go up to Arthur Avenue, the original Little Italy, and at our favorite butcher in the West Village. When my son orders his mortadella and soppressata, it comes with a heavy side of baseball trash talk, because we're Cubs fans, and the butcher is all Mets all the time. and I love it. You give me a chance to be with my kids where I'm more than a mom, where we talk about more than school and chores. You give us a shared language, a world to talk about and dream about and inhabit beyond our apartment, beyond alarm clocks and homework. Thank you for getting us out of our routines and into a place of laughter and storytelling and discovery. And thank you for giving us a soft place to land when we need it. Several years ago, I had to end a relationship that was really important to me. And my close friends knew that that day was going to be very difficult for me. And so one of them said, hey, I made a reservation at our favorite spot. We'll all be there at 9 p.m. So however the day goes, just know that you'll end the day around the table with all of us. And that's just what we did. And the servers and cooks and bartenders that night had no way of knowing what I'd faced that day. But they didn't need to. They kept my wine glass full and they served my favorite foods. And for a few hours, surrounded by friends in a restaurant I love, you all created a place for me to believe that it was going to be okay, to believe that I was going to be okay. That's what you do. You give us a soft place to land when everything else feels hard. Thank you. And I wouldn't be a mom if I didn't end a love letter with some completely unsolicited advice. Because I love you, I want you to take good care of yourself. I want you to take care of yourself the way you take care of every person who comes through your doors. The work you all do is hard work. It's physical work with long hours and late nights. You're giving to people, absorbing their energy, soothing their irritations, smoothing over the bumps and bruises of their day. You're managing a million details and making it look easy, remembering our preferences, keeping 1,000 plates spinning day after day. You're working when we're celebrating. You're working when we're sleeping. And that takes a toll. So please tend to yourselves the way you tend to us, the people who sit at your tables. Nurture yourselves the way you nurture us when we're in your spaces. This is my mom voice. Go to the doctor. Get a good therapist. Take sleep seriously. If you've forgotten how to play, spend some time with little kids. They're really good at it, and they'll reteach you. Life is a long game, and we need you. Whole you, healthy you, creative you, joyful, connected you for that long game. It's easy to think that what the world needs from you is the product you make, the thing you do for us, that we need your hands, your food, your ability to grind and hustle. But we need so much more than that. We need your full and thriving hearts. We need your full and well-tended spirits. We need people who tend to themselves and nourish themselves so they can keep nourishing and nurturing their communities. We need you, we love you, and we're so grateful for the magic and meaning that you bring to our lives around your tables. I just want to tell you one more story. There's a restaurant in the town where I went to college, and they have this tradition. Every single night, they play the song, "What a Wonderful World," and everyone in the whole place stands up and sings and toasts one another. And they tell you ahead of time that it's coming. They hand out cards with the lyrics, and they top up your glasses, and everything stops for just a few minutes. And you walk from table to table and sing and toast. It's like something out of a movie. And I think that's maybe what we're all longing for. That sense of celebration and connection and tradition and a little bit of magic. We want someone to remind us what matters, someone to remind us that it really is a wonderful world, at least for a few perfect minutes. That's what you do. That's the magic that you create. That's the beauty of what you're building day by day, meal by meal. You remind us for a few minutes or a few hours that it really is such a beautiful world. Thank you.